How sweet it is, and I mean that today. You see, I've got my nonprofit hat from Cat Dawn's organization. How you doing there? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. You've stepped in, hopefully on purpose, through the front gates of today's episode of Bathrobe Moments. And I'm your host, Loren Michaels Harris. I'm so glad for y'all. I really am. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you who show up here and support me, because days like today, this morning, which is why God gave me this, because I asked for something. Literally, I asked for something 4 years ago, early in the morning, that I could do, because I know me. I could wake up, the sun could be shining, I'd throw the blinds open, whistling and skipping down the stairs and stub my toe, and I'm gonna be cussing for about 3 hours. Right. So I was like, trick no good. Negative forces. I'm going to put something in front of me that is going to help get me right as soon as possible. And today, you guys did it for me again. There's the bell of purpose. Welcome to today's show. Today is Wednesday, the 20th of May, and I want to get this out early. You'll hear it again before we get through the interview today, through the hour. There, I do have a special Bathrobe Moments After Dark, where I trade in my bathrobe for a smoking jacket, and I trade in my sidekick, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, who is filled with toasted marshmallow coffee today for the first time. I'll tell you what that is later. Smells like it, but it never tastes like it. Anyway, and I trade Lucy in for a wine glass. That's right. I said it. Wine. Sure is. What I'm going to do tonight. Tonight, I'm so excited because I have a movie producer and director from out in California. She is just something fantastic. And you got to come and check out what she has to say, especially you women. She is so, her story about what it took to get to where she is through an industry that is traditionally reserved for men is nothing short of incredible. And her name is Giovanna Salas. So she'll be with us tonight at 7 p.m. Central, right here on Bathrobe Moments, the page, live streaming all over the world. So it's at 7 o'clock Central. Make sure you don't miss that, okay? That's the bell of purpose. What it means is it's your opportunity. When you hear this bell, something great came out of our guest's mouth, or one of you threw something spectacular up on the comments. So this just is affirmation that we hear you, we feel you. I'm behind you, you're dropping it off, and we're picking it up. It's it also means, like, if you're distracted doing your nails or eating your eggs or something, look up. Listen up, because something good is going on, right? It's also your chance to become part of something greater than yourselves. We all innately desire that. And how can you do that when you hear the bell? It's easy. It means invite a friend, share the broadcast, or start a watch party. It means that something good is going on here. And you know what? The thing about purpose is, as soon as you know you're in it, how do you know you're in it? Because you want to give what you have away. You want to share with everyone you can. So do that by inviting some friends, okay? Don't hoard it all. I know it's good, but give it away, right? So anyway, we're streaming live today, so no cussing on the screen. Only I'm allowed to. Damn. I think that's in the Bible. Which ones are in the Bible? Ass. I think that's hell. That's the other one. I remember one time I was like 7, and the clock fell off the wall in the kitchen while we were eating breakfast. And I said, "What the hell?" And all my sisters were like, "Did you hear him cuss?" And my mom said, "That's in the Bible." So ever since then, hell. That's the kind of kid I was. So anyway, and speaking of what kind of kid I was, a lot of you know, well, first of all, live streaming, of course, across Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Android, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, E63V, E60. Wait for it. It's a senior moment. This one's taking its time. Would you get out of there? E360 Live in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't care what you say, because they're headed for you too. Trust. I don't care how old you are. Senior moments are coming. So anyway, yeah, I was saying, just, we just had Mother's Day not so long ago, and a lot of you saw Goldcast replays my video, which was a Mother's Day video about having had 22 mothers in the foster system. And today's guest can relate to that. I don't know how many he had, but probably quite a few. His name is Cedric Riley. I met him not too long ago. I shouldn't even say I met him. He was destined to be in my life, and I was destined to be in his. And I just love it when those it's like you're adopting people and they're adopting you, which is a great topic for today. It kind of ties in, you get it? So Cedric Riley, young man that was brought to me, and Well, here's a little bit about him. He's a resiliency expert dedicated to community leadership and success for himself and others. At the age of 7, he and his 5 siblings, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, were placed in the Indian name county, which I can't pronounce, Kawahuchi or something. I should have asked. Pride, leave me. Get beyond me, pride. We're going to find out. I'm going to highlight that. It looks, I know it's an Indian name, County Foster Care System, due to parental neglect. And his life has been changed ever since. Though he and his siblings were placed in different homes, Cedric was able to adapt and learn the importance of accountability and relationship building. After 8.5 years, he's got some time. He's got more time in the system than I had. 8.5 years in the foster care system. Wait a minute. Nope, right around the same time. Yes, I was using my fingers to count. Blame it on public school. Anyway, 8.5 years in the foster system, Cedric was adopted into a loving home in Cincinnati. Hallelujah. That's in Ohio for you all and your geography issues, where he experienced many scholastic and professional successes. He has also overcome challenges he encountered as an adult. Alcoholism. Wow, didn't see that one coming. Cedric has decided to give back by establishing a nonprofit which will serve as a resource for personal development and inspirational performances for youth and families. Now, here's the part I love the most. He also provides training to professionals who work with youth to enforce that their work does not go in vain. He's determined to provide a source of motivation to the youth, here it is, and a breath of fresh air to their leaders. Love that twist turn of phrase. Cedric believes that his work will uplift the community domestically and internationally. So he has big plans, and he should, right? So let's get him in here. Oh.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, I mean, you was all up in the screen. I mean, you was busy watching, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You do such entertaining journalism, and I'm like glued into the screen because you keep hitting the bell at the right moments, and it's funny. I mean, I'm already having a good time, and I'm happy to be with you this morning.
Cheers! I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah.
We got a lot of ground to cover. Just saying, oh, hi, D-Ball from Southwestern Michigan. How are you? Welcome to the show. Hello. I'm watching it on my phone as well. I see a lot of friends and a lot of regulars here. Christopher Valona, he's new. Hi, Chris. Can I call you Chris? Pam Huber, Debbie George, Robert Booker. Oh, Deborah Jimenez. Deborah, you got to come in tonight. I saw you were liking the thing about my girl tonight at 7. Giovanna, come and check that out. Wendy Meyer, did I say you? And all the rest of you, if I haven't said you by name, I'm speaking your name in my heart. So, Cedric, tell everybody where you're at. You got a family. What's going on? Introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Cedric Riley. I have a family of 3 children. I have a beautiful wife, and we're on our way to Brooklyn. Right now, we're in Philadelphia, but we'll be moving to Brooklyn in the next couple months, which will be an exciting time for us. And my wife actually works in child welfare as well. She is a hero. My wife helps to get older teens adopted, and she's been doing that for maybe over 10 years, maybe 10 to 15 years, if not 20. She's been doing that work, and so my wife is also a hero in the child welfare sector, and we love each other. We built a family, and we are also expecting a little one in September. We're expecting a little girl in September.
Another one?
Yeah, another one. Yeah.
Another girl.
Another girl, yeah.
So that'll be how many girls?
That'll be a total of 4 girls.
So you know that's about $3 million for each of them, because with barrettes and shoes and earrings and
unicorns and
princess outfits.
Princess, yep. 3 or 4 at a time I'll be purchasing. Yep, that's right.
Aw.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then you know what's going. Wait till they're teenagers. You better have a shotgun.
Yeah. So, that being said, we have weekly conversations. You hit the bell on that.
Right. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
So we have we have weekly conversations to make sure that everybody's learning things from one another. We have serious, thorough conversation with each other once a week, usually on Sundays, sometimes twice a week, just to make sure that everybody's learning from each other, make sure that we're all pouring into one another with ideas and mental investments. And so we do that twice a week to make sure that we're all on the same page. I'm real proud of that. And so I told my wife when we first got together that, I set out to achieve some things in the world that could help foster care and adoption, and that while I might have a day job along the way and take on several jobs along the way, my objective, my destiny, and that you need to understand before we form a life partnership is that I want to greatly benefit the child welfare sector, youth and foster care who are there just like I was, just like you were. And today I'm further along with that work. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today.
Well, okay. Anything else you got on your mind? I'm just playing. I bet you were up rehearsing that. What time you get up? About 4 in the morning?
No. Well, usually I do actually. I get up about 3:40, but recently, since the pandemic's been going on, I think about 7, 8 o'clock.
I'm just playing with you. Your email says Cedric speaks, and it's like I already know because shoot. I'll tell you what, I can go to an auction and the auctioneer lucky to get a word in edgewise with me there.
Right.
They thinking, what did he say? Right. I'll be going with him right next to it. I'm just kidding. But anyway, Cedric, let me just say this on a serious tone. I'm so excited and so proud to have you here because what a great example of what can be. And also to show people that, because you hear when people hear foster care, they think most of us fail or succumb to the forces, the negative and evil forces that are in there. And Lord knows there's plenty of that. Mm-hmm. But there are those of us who are blessed, highly favored and uplifted to get out to change the lives of others and not forget our brothers and sisters who are in there. And, when I met you, which is the way it is, especially, because when we do our things at the foster care conventions and different things like that, you feel like you're a part of a fraternity, a sorority, a club, a family. It truly is. And I'm just so proud of you. Went to college, you got a degree. And
no, I did not finish college.
Oh, but you did go.
I did go. I went to The Ohio State University for 2 years. Okay. And I have 2 years left to go. And part of my campaign going forward is that as I succeed and I'm able to finance the rest of my college education, I'd love to do that. That's what I look forward to doing. So that's part of my plan. When I raise awareness, when I speak, when I sell products, when I do seminars, all of those things are going to fund the furtherment of my education.
Okay. Yep. So there it is. Well, you're halfway through. You got 2 down, 2 to go.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. You got past that freshman math?
Yes, I did. Yep. Oh. So thankful for that.
I got everything done but that. That's why I don't have the degree.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I got sick of taking that freshman. I'd got everything else. If I could go and get that done, I could have it.
I got that math done first.
Oh, going in my side. Yep. Anyway, and I remember like 4th grade. Why do I have to learn this? You're never going to use it in life.
And it keeps coming back every year. It keeps coming back.
That's why I'm counting on my fingers to this day. See, right. Pay attention, kids. You better get your math done. So anyway, Cedric, 8.5 years. Any idea how many beds you slept in that period of time?
No idea. And you get a mentality of, sleeping all over the place,
right.
And you feel like you don't particularly
like a gypsy.
Yeah, you feel like you don't particularly you're not fixed in any particular place. And so that 8.5 years, it contains a lot of different experiences for me, ranging an entire gambit. And now in retrospect that I'm older, I'd like to include that I learned something from everybody for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
In every place along the way, I learned something. Okay. But that doesn't take away from the variety of experiences that I had over the course of that 8 years.
Right.
It was a feeling of isolation from my biological family, a feeling of abandonment by people that I thought were a part of my original network, or just felt like I was being mistreated because some parents will tell you, listen, you're a foster parent. I'm not going to put you in the same box as I put everybody else because you're a foster kid.
Yeah.
In the first foster home that I was ever in, we used to eat me and my brothers, we would eat like chicken nuggets,
nuggets,
or a salami sandwich, but this was a duplex, and she would set us up at the table with the same meal pretty much every night, and then she would go upstairs with the rest of her family and have a home cooked meal.
Exactly.
My brother sat downstairs and ate a store-bought TV dinner.
Yeah, I experienced that same thing. All these years different because I was in during the 70s. So in here you were in what during the 90s, 2000.
Yeah, 90s. Late 90s. Yep.
You're right. So same story, different decades. Yep. And I mean that separation, that obvious, they make it known. Yeah. You and I had a conversation the other day, and we agreed that, you can walk into the front door of a brand new foster home and you can smell what the experience is going to hold for you. You literally can smell it. Literally. And right. And we had that where we would have hot dogs and they'd be eating steak, fried chicken, all kind of stuff. Right. Yeah. We'd eat cereal. They'd have pancakes and bacon and egg, all kinds of right. And then, I even had one foster home where the kids had all this stuff, jungle gym and all this stuff in the backyard. And the three of us that were foster kids, we had one square of sidewalk in the front of the house. Couldn't even see the kids playing in the back. In the side, we would have to sit inside that square. You were disallowed to reach over the crack to play with the other kid next to you. So you couldn't play jacks. You couldn't play two square. If you were caught reaching over that line that separated the squares of the side, you had to go in and go to bed. And you go out there right after breakfast. So you mess up and you go out there at 9 o'clock, you mess up at 9:14, you go into bed till the next day.
Right. It's not funny, but we're talking in retrospect, and those type of dividing lines I speak about on a regular basis, and it's so refreshing to talk to somebody who knows what I mean when I talk about that dividing line, because that dividing line is ever present. I was in a foster home where we literally could not walk across certain lines in the house, or else we would get whooped. And so, and this gentleman, he would actually sit at the top of the stairs while everybody was sleeping to make sure that nobody woke up to cross different lines. And all throughout the day, there were different lines that you couldn't cross. And if you crossed that line, you would get a brutal butt whooping. And, and then they would also sit us down before we had a meeting with a social worker, and they would say, hey, you don't tell the social worker that we're whooping your butt. Right. Don't tell this social worker that we're treating you this way. Right. And so as impressionable as I was, I listened at that time. But for sure, for certain, that dividing line was one of the first things I learned when I went into foster care. Absolutely. And to be fair, there were those foster homes that were great. That I still to this day, did until they passed away, visited and stayed in touch with, still in touch with a few of my foster brothers and sisters whose homes I lived in with their biological parents. But the things that we take into adulthood, it took me decades. It literally took me decades. And I'm still dealing. I go to counseling every Monday at 10 a.m. Because there are still things that I'm lifting rocks and uncovering and discovering about that journey. So it is, and like we were saying, I was telling somebody the other day, it's up here on my wall of purpose. This one right here. Because of what we do, I understand now that the healing never ends. Because when we talk about it like this, someone that is thinking about becoming a great foster parent will hear our stories and offset it by one. Because now they're going to go in and be the opposite of what they've been hearing us say here, and be one of those great families that a kid whose life changes, they may even adopt. So one of the things that's different about your story too is that you were, and interesting that your wife works in that field today. To be adopted at 15 is pretty late. It's the door of opportunity has closed for most. I aged out of the system at 18. That's a whole different story. But you were adopted at 15. When did the process start with your adopted family? What age were you when they first laid eyes on you? How did you guys get together? And did you think it was ever going to happen? So I never thought it was going to happen, because when we first went into foster care, our mother told us that she was going to get us out of foster care. Oh. We knew that the social worker was coming back. And because, the way that we were living, it was obvious that everything was not okay. Yeah. And because of an altercation where my biological mother was in the middle of the street with a gun to her head, because of the gentleman that she was playing cards with got upset with her and put a gun to her head in the middle of the street. The gentleman who put the gun to my mother's head, his sister saw the altercation and decided the next day to call what was called Department of Children's Services on my mother the next day. So when we came home from school
for child endangerment,
because
she was hanging with a guy who was loose enough to put a gun to her head over a card game in the middle of the street.
While me and my brothers and sisters were standing on the porch looking at this. So we all saw this. And so the next week, we came home one day, everybody had their report cards, and my mother was laying on the bed crying. And she looked at us and she said, a social worker came here today and talked and told me that she could be coming back to take you guys. I told that social worker to get out of my house. There's no way that they're going to come back and take you guys from me at all. And so my mother essentially kicked the social worker out the house.
Okay.
It was this warning and told us to pack our bags just in case. We packed our bags, and at about 7 o'clock that night, the social worker came to take us into foster care. And so, and as we left, our mother said, I am going to take you guys back out of foster care. You won't be in there very long. Well, our mother ended up dying while we were in foster care. And while we were in foster care, after about 2 years, she died from drug complications and a violence. So she was doing drugs and she got into an altercation. She got hit in the head and she ended up passing away. The worker came to us and told us that our mother was murdered. And then they came back to us the next day and said, we don't know. We're not clear on the details of what happened. So we're unclear about it. So there was some mystery surrounding the way that our mother passed away.
Now, were all 5 of you you were separated?
We were all separated. We were all in different places, except at this time, it's me and my 2 younger brothers living in the same place when our mother passed away while we were in foster care. So I say that to say we never went into foster care with the expectation of becoming adopted. We went into foster care with the expectation that one day our mother would take us out. But the turn of events was not finished with us. And so our mother passed away while we were in foster care. We all came from different families to be dropped off at the funeral. We went to the funeral. Wow. After the funeral, we all got picked up by those different families and went back home. Now, after about 6 or 7 years of going from different homes, I landed in a home where as the first day in this home, I could smell a home cooked meal. And our foster mother, she sat everybody down at the table. She said, in this family, everybody is fed. That's what I do. It was me, my 2 younger brothers, and I had 2 other sisters at the table, my foster sisters at the time, but I call them my sisters. We were all sitting at the table. She gave everybody a pork chop, and then she handed me a basket of French fries. I'm talking about a whole colander basket of French fries.
Yeah.
Now, and all of my experience of being rationed out just a little bit, being cared for just a little bit, being given attention just a little bit. This huge basket of fries. So I thought to mind my foster care manners, take a little bit and pass the basket. She stopped me before I could pass the basket. She said, Cedric, you are 12 years old. That entire basket of fries is yours. You're a growing boy. You're a growing man. All those French fries are yours.
Wow.
And I learned in that moment that this foster home that I was in, it was different from the homes that I had been in before.
Right.
She gave me more than enough. That was the whole tone that she set. I'm gonna feed you, but I'm also gonna have a high expectation of you. I expect you to do great because you're gonna be provided with the foundation that you can use to do great.
Wow.
I pretty much fell in love with this family. They provided so many things that I had never had before. There were strong, confident men in my life for the first time. I'm talking about day in and day out. I'm talking about Uncle Tremaine and Uncle Duke and Uncle Joseph. These were people, Uncle Rod. These were people who were in and out of my life who were showing me mechanics of cars, how to carry yourself as a confident man, how to stay confidently, how to go a day sober, how to be just strong and regular and normal as a man. I hadn't really seen that. Incidentally, all my different foster care placements, there was a foster mother. There was no father.
Isn't that interesting? I had one foster home that had a dad.
Yeah,
out of all
exactly.
the ones that I went to.
Right. So yeah, and with the exception of one foster home, which was the first one. But so fast forward. So now I'm interacting with different men, and I'm interacting with a different type of woman, a type of woman who brings her whole family together every night for dinner. This woman brings her whole family together. They all come to her house and eat dinner.
Oh, wow.
Every weekend is like a family reunion because the whole family comes over for Sunday dinner every week.
Makes a big impression.
This was totally different from anything I'd experienced
ever.
Family ever. And so I began to grow up in this family because it's like, I can play, I can run, I can be free. I don't have a worry in the world. I don't have to take care of other people. I just have to take care of myself. So and tell me if I'm too loud because I get excited and I get
That's bad. We have that in common.
Yeah,
we have that in common. Yes. But no, I'm gonna be the last one to say something about, hey, speak your truths.
Right.
Speak them.
Okay. And so, after about 2 years in this home, now mind you, you're only supposed to be at one placement for 6 months, but we were here for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm pretty much a part of the family now. And a family came from a couple cities over in a small town called Akron and just kind of popped up out of the blue and was like, we want to adopt these boys. And it devastated me. So they came to visit, and I'm thinking, how could I leave this family that I've been with for 2 years,
right?
Knowing that every time you go to a new place, it's a gamble of what the reality is going to be. I didn't want to continue to take that gamble because here I was growing up. One thing about the experience that I had with my biological mother, my biological grandmother, my biological family, and then into foster care, it's about growing up. I became interested in growing up. I wanted to be a man. And so I was looking for a place where I could have that level of stability where I could grow up. And then as soon as I feel like I found it, here comes another family saying, I want to adopt you guys. So I was shocked. I ran away. They came to visit and I ran away. I went to the Taco Bell. I ran to a Taco Bell up the street, and I stayed in that Taco Bell until I thought that family left. When I decided to walk back home, my foster mother at that time was driving around in the neighborhood looking for me. When she found me, she said, "You don't have to run, Cedric. If you don't want to leave this family, you don't have to leave. I'm going to find a way to help you become adopted into my family."
Wow.
So I said all that to say that the way that I became adopted as a 15-year-old, most of it wasn't intentional. It was an organic bond that took place that my mother at that time was willing to help grow from a seed into a tree.
Right.
And so she wasn't able to adopt me, but she had a conversation with her daughter who was able to adopt me. Her name was Yolanda. Yolanda became more than a sibling in my life. She became my mother. And she built a relationship with me that would forever change the outcome of who I was growing into.
Wow.
At the age of 15, I was adopted in Cincinnati.
By Yolanda.
Okay,
which was an offshoot of the family where you'd been for those years and didn't want to leave.
Right.
So the other couple that came to say, we want these boys, that didn't happen, or did they adopt some of your siblings?
They adopted my 2 younger brothers.
Okay. Yep. So then the two families, I'm assuming, became close because they kept you were allowed to still see your brothers, right?
So yeah, I was allowed to see my brothers, and we always kept lines of communication open. I went to visit as much as I could. They came to visit when they could. It's just that I was at a fork in the road in my growth where I could see a clear future with the family I was in, and I was willing to run away instead of cooperating to be adopted by this different family.
Got it.
But my younger brothers, on the other hand, everybody was evaluating what was in their best interest. This family was a married couple. They lived in a nice suburb. They lived in a nice, safe community. They had a dog. They were excited about adopting. And so it was a team decision that my brothers would really benefit from that form of
from that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, listen, here's a great place for us to take a break. For those of you who have joined us since the top of the hour, we're here today with motivational speaker, game changer, father, husband, community activist, Cedric Riley, nonprofit founder. We're going to get into all that and what it was like to be adopted at 15 and how he was launched into his adult world. We're going to get into all that and more. When we come back, we need to take a break real quick so we can have a word from our sponsor, which is symposium.us. But don't go away. This is a great chance to share the broadcast, invite a few friends, or even start a watch party. And we'll see you in just a minute. And we're back with Cedric Riley. Cedric was just about to tell us. So now the point of the story, you've just been adopted, and your brothers are adopted. Who was adopted first? You or the two brothers?
I think it happened at about the same time, but my brothers probably finalized first.
So how did it feel? Now that's three of you. Where are the other two kids?
My other two little sisters were actually adopted into the same family I was adopted into, but they were adopted by my foster mother's sister, and they lived around the corner from where we lived.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this woman really was vested in keeping you kids as close to each other as possible. What a blessing. What a blessing. So what about this, though? How did you all feel about, so that means that there were three different last names now.
Yep.
Did that have an effect on you guys as far as the continuity of the fabric of being siblings? Or yeah. How did you guys feel about having three different names between you?
Yes. So, to some degree we felt torn apart, and even to this day we have unique identities, and we love each other indefinitely. But, I feel that we've all made sacrifices to become productive adults. And I'm proud of my last name, Riley. I was proud of my last name, Curry, but I'm proud of both. And my brothers and sisters, we all take pride in the last names that we have because we took our identities, whether they changed or not, and made the best of them.
Yes.
And that's pretty much where I began to grow as a speaker, because I would always routinely call my brothers and sisters and meet up with them and make sure that they were keeping a positive outlook about where we were going in life, encouraging them that we're going to be successful no matter what we go through in life. We have what it takes. We have what it takes. We have what it takes. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your head high. Stay strong. Dig deep. If you have a problem, call me. If you have a problem, write me. I will figure out a solution. I'll ask my mom a solution. I'll call your mother and ask for a solution. Any way that we could work together to communicate, to get you through, to graduate high school, let's do it. And that's really where I began speaking. And so I do see my journey as being a sacrifice.
Sure.
I sacrificed what would have been a nice, neat family when I went into foster care. I think we all make that sacrifice. And so we feel impacted by the sacrifice that we've made over the course of these years, but it's worth it. It's worth it when I have a family, and my brother has a beautiful family, and my sisters, they both have beautiful families, and we can bring all of our families together at my mom's house or at my sister's house, and we can have Thanksgiving dinner. We can celebrate our own holidays.
Yeah.
We can become one again.
I think it's just beautiful. If I had an applause machine here, I'd hit it right now. You gave me chills in there, and that's proof that something wonderful is resonating within your story. And I just want to thank you for sharing that. Now let's switch gears here for a minute and talk about part of the struggle that you had to deal with and still deal with, even in sobriety. You still deal with it. It never goes away. We're aware of what we're doing. And I am the survivor of 12-year drug addiction, so I know exactly that battle, just in a different room. So tell us about the alcoholism. Do you feel it was something you picked up from the experiences with your birth mom and that lifestyle, or did something else prompt that? How did that come about, and how did you get through it?
So as I write a book, I pour over memories, from the beginning of where I was to where I am today. And so alcohol and cigarettes was something that I saw from early on that I connected with being an adult.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And so to me, that was part of being an adult, was smoking and drinking. My grandmother used to ask me to go to the store and buy her beer and cigarettes. And I was 4 years old. And now this is my biological grandmother. I used to go to the store.
And they'd sell it?
I'm sorry?
And they would sell it to you?
Yes.
Because they knew her.
Yes.
And she told me, I'm send that baby down there to get my package. Right. Okay.
At 4 years old, I was buying beer and cigarettes for my grandmother. Now, sometimes during the day, she might ask me to go light her cigarette. I'm 4 years old. I go light her cigarette. In order to light it, you got to puff it a little bit. On the stove, I light her cigarette. Sometimes when I pour her beer for her and the bubbles on the top, she'd ask me to sip the bubbles off the top. So when I was very young, I was lighting cigarettes and I was taking the bubbles off the beer on the top of the beer. Now, that was not traumatic at the time. It wasn't harmful or anything like that. I was doing what I was asked to do. But subliminally, as I grew older, in my mind, part of being an adult was being able to smoke and drink. So when I turned 18, I was happy about everything that was going on in my life. I was adopted. I was loved. I was loving back. I had professional success. But in my mind, I'm thinking 18, I can smoke without getting in trouble. 21, I can drink without getting in trouble.
Right.
So those were, elements of my mind at those times. Now, when I went to college and I continued to kind of get out there, I'm around people. Everybody's drinking. I'm not gonna say everybody.
Well, right? Yeah, it's the thing. It's
a thing, right? A lot of people are drinking. A lot of people are smoking. And for me, it became a time where I'm like, you know what? I got a lot of that in me. I always wanted to drink and smoke like this because now I'm looking like my people. Yeah. Right. And so eventually I went too far with it. And when I came home from college, I started to have to deal with labels of, Cedric drinks too much. And Cedric is loud when he drinks. He wants to talk about all different types of things when he drinks. And I don't want him around me. And I would be saying, no, everybody drinks. What are you talking about? Don't discriminate against me. Everybody's doing it. And people would say, no, Cedric, everybody's not doing it. So I had to get over myself and realize that in order for me to really grow up and be the man that I set out to be, the man that my grandmother wanted me to be, the man that my foster mothers wanted me to be, the man that my mother wanted me to be, the man that I want myself to be. I was going to have to get over myself, and I was going to have to slay the beast of alcoholism. The beast of alcoholism has run in my family for generations, generations and generations. Oof. And what I had to do was I had to face it and I had to overcome it. If I was ever going to be a speaker, a leader, or any form of some role model that somebody could respect, I had to face my flaw, which was born in me. I didn't ask for it. I didn't start drinking because somebody handed me a bottle. It was part of me, and I had to deal with it. So I spent about 6 or 7 years getting over the fact that it's not normal for you to drink throughout the day. It's not normal for you to want somebody to tolerate you drinking. It's not okay. And I had to seek help. I called my mother and I told my mother, I said, Mom, I'm over drinking, and I know it's not right. She said, Cedric, you need to grow up. You need to find some help and you need to deal with it. And so what I did was I checked into a rehab. This was a Christian-based rehab. There was no smoking, there was no drinking, and there was minimal communication with your family because you have spiritual work to do when you have a beast on you. And a beast is not always alcoholism.
Got that right.
Right? But that was my beast.
Right.
That was my flaw. That was my fault. And so I took 2 years to slay that beast. And I'm proud to say that on behalf of myself and my family, the beast of alcoholism has been slayed.
Okay. I got to ring the bell in succession there. That's awesome. Now, because you know why I find that so doggone wonderful and encouraging is because I know for a fact, especially in the African-American community, that's one of the things, the drinking and actually being an alcoholic, that is so looked over, glazed over. They won't call it that. It's just Uncle so-and-so, he just like his drink, it's just not unusual. People smile and laugh and point, look at Rufus. Right, he's so crazy out there laying down, them passed out in Sister Roosevelt's yard. It's a thing that you get used to seeing. It's almost like it's a part of the neighborhood decor. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So we're not taught like a lot of other cultures that, go get help. A lot of that stuff is kept secretive. What goes on in this house, stay in this. Don't be putting our business out there in the streets, this and the other. So I really commend you for taking that high road. That didn't come so easy. So how long have you been sober now?
This is my 3rd year.
3rd year. So you had already started your family.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So your wife, she had to play a role in that? Like, look, you got to get this together or you're going to lose us?
Yep. My wife, my wife, everybody in my life played a role into my thought process of either you're going to deal with this or you're not going to be anything. You're going to be just like the people that landed you in foster care. And when I say that, when I say that, I have to say, my mother and all those people that she was partying with that ended up her having a gun to her head. All those people is who I was going to be just like if I didn't make a change.
Right.
And so I had to have a level of accountability with my wife, with my children, with my public, people who knew me from school as someone who was going up and forward, my mentors, and all my family members, and everybody I know along the way who has lost the fight to alcoholism. I had to stand up for them.
Whew. So, you said I got to ring the bell. I need a breath behind that one. What about this? Do you ever deal with, because I kind of go back and forth sometimes. I know I tell people all the time, it's actually one of my keynotes about reinventing blame. How for many decades I played the blame game because I was angry. A lot of my branding today shows me with my hands open. If you go to my websites and the Power of We Symposium, my hands are open, and that's purposeful because I believe we have to be like this in order to receive or to give. Because when we're closed off, it doesn't happen. I was angry like this. And then in my 30s, I thought I got it together, which is when I actually started my drugging. I didn't do anything up to that. I was like Carlton from the Fresh Prince, clean and squeaky and with no rhythm. But then I added insult to injury because I thought I had evolved. And what I really did was go like this. So now I'm thinking, I'm not the old angry me. But I am, because this is one of your point. It's really 75% of a fist. So everything I had stuffed in my fist because I was angry, I still had room to keep it in there. But now I'm pointing and blaming it on something or someone other than myself, which added another layer of denial. It wasn't until I released it like you did and let it go. Let it go. That's one of the songs on my album. Oh my goodness. And I didn't even intend that, but I will take this opportunity for this shameless plug. There it is on the wall behind me. Get it from iTunes, CD Baby. Any place digital downloadable music is available. The album is entitled Turn It Around, and you will find a song in there called Let It Go, because every song on there is from the journey. So there's my shameless plug of the day. Right. So talk about this. We're going to turn the corner here and talk about solutions. Yep. And what you don't have to be a product of the foster system to be broken. You don't have to be adopted to know the need to belong. I always tell people that are struggling with familial issues, I know now that because I have two families, biological and adopted, just like you do. And I know that family is based in love. It's relatives that are based in blood.
I like to say, we are all relatives, and yet we are family by circumstance.
There you go. There you go. So I know that a lot of people have trouble doing this, finding their happy place. Mm-hmm. So today, in order to maintain your sobriety, you must have something in your world that helps you do just this. I know, obviously, the wife and kids have a lot to do with it, and the baby that's on the way. What would you recommend to people who are still, they're getting up, they go to the store and they get their 40 ounces or whatever at 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning. And at 5 o'clock in the evening, they're just finishing up that batch and then they're ready to go to whatever's next. But they feel that they just can't turn that corner. Right. What do you suggest they do? What would you say would be the first thing you have to do in order to get started changing your life?
The first thing you have to do is you have to get sick and tired. One thing that I want to say is that, me as Cedric, this is part of what makes me. Once I overcome something, that thing has been overcame. And so I don't have to do a daily ritual of staying. That chapter is done and over with.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And I always was going to have to deal with it because it was always in me.
Right.
But what I believe is this. There are 3 phases in life: survival, success, and then greatness.
Ooh.
A lot of people are drinking while they're in their survival phase. It's a survival mechanism.
Right.
So the first thing is that I want to show some understanding. You're not just drinking because you're just randomly drinking. You're drinking because you're coping with something. You're dealing with something. I want to validate the fact that you're dealing with something. I want to let you know, hey, you're only in the first phase of life. Don't succumb in the first phase of life when you got 2 other phases waiting for you to grab. It's 3 phases in life.
Yes.
Once you are really ready to deal with yourself, because if you're not ready, it's not about me having a conversation. It's not about you going to a program. It's not about any of that, because you have to deal with yourself. Once you are ready to make a change in your life, then you need to go and get into a spiritual system.
You better preach. You better preach.
Your spirit ain't right because your spirit is broken. And so many, if not everybody, who goes through foster care and extended into the community, everybody has a chink in their armor somewhere. Everybody is broken somewhere, and then that break to be fixed.
Yes.
So about understanding everybody has a break that they need to be fixed. You need spiritual guidance in order to fix that break.
Amen. I look, you ain't got to tell me. I mean, you do, but I'm just saying. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now we're talking about solutions.
Yeah, I got you. So
no. I got something for you.
Okay.
Hold that thought. I want to share something with the people. Because I want you to see Cedric isn't just walking the walk or talking the talk. He's walking the walk. And I found a little something that speaks to, I love this part. So I have 1 minute and 12 seconds of some footage I found that I'd like to share with everybody, which really is a great piece of how to be successful in what we're talking about here. So take a look at this with me. Okay. Is this it? Yeah.
My name is Cedric Riley. My name is Cedric Dwayne Carvelis Riley. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. From Cleveland, Ohio, I also lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. What I learned the most about growing up in Ohio was that poverty and crab in a barrel mentality, scarce opportunities to be happy, living in an industrial town where there's a lot of people that's not making a lot of money, it all builds a fire. It all builds a fire up in your gut. You know what I mean? Many years as a young teen and a preteen, I remember being on a bus with a big fire in my gut, a big fire in my gut. And inside of that fire was my belief that as soon as I got the opportunity, that I would make my life bigger and better. And I didn't know exactly what that meant, but constantly figuring out what that means for your future. You know what I mean? So growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, it really stoked the fire in my gut that inspired me to want to make my life much better than it had ever been.
Wow. That is just so, I'm telling you what, that big fire in your gut, that's what you need. That's always there. Don't turn away from it. Stoke it. Breathe the breath of life on it so that it can flame out and burn down all those things that are trying to take you in the opposite direction of what your destiny dictates is your birthright. And let's talk about the things you've got. You got a lot going on. Here's I love this. Here's one of your websites. Talk about this one, motivatefosterkids.com. What are people going to find when they head there? And I'm hoping that they will, to check this out. What's that all about?
So motivatefosterkids.com is a campaign that I'm on to motivate all 440,000 youth in the foster care system today. I know it's a big task, and some people might say that I'm working on the art of the impossible. But in order to achieve that, I created what's called Seminar Soundtrack. Seminar Soundtrack is a collection of my best thoughts, my best notes, and my best life wisdom put in a setting of some music and some sound effects that a foster parent can use to communicate mental connections with a child that they want to relate to. So I realized that in foster care, you have a challenge of relating to a kid that you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Seminar Soundtrack is a 57-minute discussion that you can use to communicate key ideas in order for you to relate to youth in your life.
Wow. I love that. And we used to say something when I was a little bit younger, a few years ago, when he was like, "Oh, I'm scared of you." Yeah, I'm scared of you. That, I'm telling you, that's really something wonderful. I'm going to go check that out myself. And then you have this. Tell us what this is all about, and what does it stand for, what we're looking at on the screen right now.
PE Network stands for the Pride Empowerment Network. One thing that I needed to keep a hold of while I was going through different places is my pride. I have to stay proud of myself. Make sure that I iron my clothes. Make sure that I take care of my hair. Make sure that I clip my nails, because those are the things that keep you nice, neat, and clean. Those things go into your pride. People could tell you care about yourself. You got to remember to care about yourself. I want to do that for other young people in care. Remind them to care about themselves. So the Pride Empowerment Network is going to become a network of support. We're going to get together. We're going to create more and more seminar soundtracks, and then we're going to form a unit. That unit someday will become an 8-story building, which will be a safe place. An 8-story building, which will become a safe place for youth in care, where they live, and they share their stories, and they live and they grow, and they become America's next motivators. The Pride Empowerment Network is going to become a bank of life stories for America's next motivators. Youth in care today have the potential to become America's next motivators.
Amen.
What the Pride Empowerment Network is going to do is it's going to take your life story, it's going to coach you through overcoming your flaw, and then it's going to save your story for the next generation. That's what the Pride Empowerment Network is going to do. A lot of people who grew up in foster care, there's recidivism down the line. You've been in foster care, so now either your children are going to end up in foster care or the next generation. There's recidivism there. The Pride Empowerment Network exists for people who want to know about their grandfather because they don't know their grandfather.
Right.
Maybe your grandfather dropped off his story at the Pride Empowerment Network. The Pride Empowerment Network is for your father and your mother that you never knew. Maybe they dropped off their story with the Pride Empowerment Network, and we'll be here to share that story for you.
Wonderful. So everybody that was on the screen, we're going to drop those links. If Cedric, when we're done here, if you go back into the comment section on your phone and drop the links in so people can just click right on them and they can go and they can continue this dialogue with you.
Okay.
One last question. Let's call this your Jerry Springer final thought. A lot of people probably are sitting there wondering, did you ever or have you yet forgiven your mother, your birth mother, for the way things went down? Because that's a big piece.
So I absolutely forgave my mother. I realized that my mother is coursing through my veins, whether I like it or not. And let me speak about my father as well. I never knew who my father was. My mother gave me his name on a piece of paper one day, and I kept that piece of paper for years. When I got old enough, I started searching that name on the internet. I found his family, and I found out that he was my father. I did a DNA test with my sister. Her name is Ebony. I found my father. I met him in a casket. The first day I ever seen my father, he was in a casket. And so I forgive him too. I forgive him too because he courses through my veins as well. I'd like to say everybody who has deeply influenced me in my life is coursing through my veins as well, because my spirit has been open. I needed your help. You helped me. I needed food, and you fed me spiritually. You fed me. And so now you're coursing through my veins as well. I absolutely forgive my mother, and I embrace her spirit in me. Absolutely.
Awesome. Cedric, it has been a true blessing. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. You guys keep an eye out. Cedric's going to be working with us on our generational healing special that you'll see here on E360 TV and Bathrobe Moments. May 25th, Memorial Day, 5 generations of healing through conversation. So mark your calendar for that. Cedric, thank you so much. I know you'll be back many more times. We got a lot of stuff in front of us that we're going to do together, and it's just been a true pleasure. I'm so grateful to the universe for bringing us into each other's lives. Stay safe, be well, love up on that family, and keep doing what you're doing, man. You're changing lives one at a time, and I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Success is my choice.
All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. Come back tomorrow. We'll have a young lady that you are going to love. Angel. She lives up to her name. Angel Livas is with us tomorrow morning. We'll be here, God willing, at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Until then, stay safe. And remember, if you want to be the blessing, you better get to that mirror and take a look so you can see the blessing. It's you. I'll see you tomorrow morning right here on our next installment of Bathrobe Moments.